Welcome to the show. Now, you're watching us perhaps on Facebook, but you can listen to us as a podcast wherever you get your favourite podcasts from. You can make us a regular or a favourite. And I think that means, Pete, does it, that you can get notified when we post the new
I'm not
edition?
Sure, no.
Yes, we're still feeling our way, ladies and gentlemen. But it's a very interesting journey, this modern business of doing without a radio station, because I firmly believe the future is going to be the sort of thing that we'll be telling you more about in the next week or so, where we will be broadcasting from... I'll tell you next week. But it's a brave new world, with podcasts and Facebook and all this kind of thing. But welcome to the Court of Public Opinion, ladies and gentlemen. However you are consuming us, I thank you for finding us and supporting us. We're very grateful. Before we get into the stuff of the day that I've discovered that you might be interested in, might want to comment on, July 13, Kylie Minogue releases her debut single. Do you remember what it was, Pete?
Locomotion.
Locomotion, that's what it was. Locomotion, 1987. I think it was a cover version, because the original was Little Evie? Yeah, I reckon it was. Nancy Barbato Sinatra, first wife and long-time friend of Frank Sinatra, dies at 101 years of age on this day in 2018. 1939, Frank Sinatra makes his recording debut on the same day with the Harry James Orchestra, singing From the Bottom of My Heart and Melancholy Mood. And there was another song that he wrote for her, which was Nancy with the Laughing Eyes. I remember that. Pardon me. What else? The Hollywood sign is officially dedicated in the hills above Hollywood, Los Angeles. It originally reads Hollywood Land, but the 4 last letters dropped off after renovations back in 1949. 23 it first went up. An Australian actually went and got the rights to it or something. I can't remember, long convoluted story. Captain James Cook, we were talking about him yesterday, begins his second voyage to the South Seas aboard HMS Resolution to search for Terra Australis, the southern continent. 1772. Bob Crane, the American DJ, actor, Hogan's Heroes, the Donna Reed Show. He was born in Waterbury, Connecticut. He died in 78 in a sleazy motel. He was shot to death. Don't know what he was doing there or why he was killed. 1928 he was born. The Ford Motor Company chairman, Henry Ford II, fires company president Lee Iacocca. Big mistake. Big mistake. Lee Iacocca was a most amazing man. Wrote lots of books on success, and he was the man behind the Mustang and the Thunderbird, the cars that really made modern-day Ford. 1987, federal court judge throws out Bette Midler's $10 million lawsuit against the Ford Motor Company, who used the sound-alike voice for their television commercials. They didn't either want her or could afford her, but they got somebody who sounded like her. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. 1978. Look, I remember when I think when John Laws had polio in the early 60s. They 2GB was doing the drive time program. Very important staff at 2GB, John Laws, and they couldn't what to do. Anyway, they rummaged through their audition tapes and they found a guy called John Hoare, believe it or not. John Hoare. God, he sounded just like John Laws. And they immediately hired him. But I don't know why it didn't work out, and I never knew what happened to the John Hoare career. But that was true. And of course there was, when Bob Rogers went from 2UE to 2SM. Who did they hire to replace him? Do you remember, Pete?
No, sorry.
Who was the guy who dressed himself up as a southern general and got into trouble because he was wearing his guns at King's Cross? What was his name? Look, I'll think of it and have it for you tomorrow. But he too sounded just like, not Laws, but Bob Rogers. I mean, there is money to be made out of sounding like somebody famous. It's true. True. Patrick Stewart, English actor, Star Trek, The Next Generation. Captain Picard, 1940 he was born. Red Buttons, American comedian, The Red Buttons Show, Academy Award-winning actor, Poseidon Adventure, dies of cardiovascular disease at the age of 87. It was 2006. Harrison Ford, the American actor, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Blade Runner, born Chicago, Illinois, in 42. On this day, if you're having a birthday, you are sharing it with Jennifer Jones. Queen Victoria is the first monarch to live in the present Buckingham Palace. That was in 1837. And Academy Award-winning actor Jose Ferrer, 41, wed singer and actress Rosemary Clooney at the age of 25 in Durant, Oklahoma in 1953. First song I ever really loved was Rosemary Clooney singing Beautiful, Beautiful Brown Eyes. A lovely piece of music. Do you remember it, Pete? Oh, you should hear it. Beautiful, Beautiful Brown Eyes. I'll never love blue eyes again. Anyway, I digress. Back to business. The cost of renting a property in Australia, according to the core logic people, has gone up by 2.5%. That's in the last 3 months. 2.5%. Adelaide is now the cheapest place in the whole country to rent a property, and I would think probably to buy a property. That's not to say we're cheap. We're just, what's the expression, worthy of inspection. The quality of life, capital of the country. I firmly believe that. I really do. Good old Adelaide. Childcare costs rocketed by, while we're doing statistics, 25 to 30% without any really visible reason, except for the fact that these operators knew that the government was about to kick in billions and billions of dollars, and they were going to get in for their share. It's another case of a dog chasing its tail. More money they put into childcare, the more the childcare costs will go up. What are you doing? They're not very commercially savvy, are they? I mean, the government. The government should realise all of this. As I've said, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Just think of the NDIS. Just to mention something. Yes, Missy, I've got a Jack Russell who just came in for a visit. Talking about the benefits of South Australia, I don't know if you know the Crondoff wine label, but one of the great South Australian wineries has been bought. Bought and sold. I suppose we can't object to the success of people. This is interesting. Missy is jumping all over Pete, but not me. Keeping away from me. Anyway.
He jumps all over you and not me.
Oh, she's busy. Look, she's happy investigating. Jack Russells have great curiosity. Anyway, we've lost another good company. I suppose we can't object to success of people, and it's a very successful company. The Japanese bought it, I think. We'll investigate. Sold to a Japanese company, I don't know which one, but we'll get lots of wonderful brands picked off, I'm sure. Records broken twice this week. If you haven't heard, the hottest day in history. The hottest day in history. What rubbish. Where were these readings taken? Which hemisphere? What time of day? What was the altitude? Where is your science? More importantly, where are the journalists who will ask these simple questions? Don't just accept the fact that it's the hottest day the world has ever known. Really? Ask some questions. Bhutan, famous for being the happiest place in the world. Happiest place in the world. 700,000 people live there, nestled in the Himalayas between India and China. Very picturesque, beautiful place. Well, they're facing a crisis. People want to leave. Well, you must consider Adelaide. But I still can't get my mind around that. They want to leave the happiest country in the world? God, it sounds like a modern-day Shangri-La. What do people want? Apparently the young ones want opportunity. Well, many of them apparently want to come to Australia. If you do, put Adelaide on your shopping list. We'd be very happy to welcome you. We used to be, of course, the land of opportunity. It's now the land of milk and subsidies, government grants and all sorts of Aboriginal nonsense. God help us. God help us. We have lost 2,000 people to COVID since the beginning of this year in Australia. 2,000 people. Please don't be complacent, be careful. Huh? Just a thought. You can spend hundreds of millions of dollars on advertising electric cars, but you can't make them popular. Yes, they're about, I don't know, in terms of sales, they've got about a third of the market. I mean, you can pretend it's the new thing, it's the fashionable thing, it's the responsible thing, but you still can't get over that hump. I'm heartened in many ways by the common sense of the general public of Australia. Long may it live and thrive. And it's not just Australia, by the way, it is the world. Because nobody has thought, if you have the same number of cars in the world powered by electric battery, lithium-ion batteries, as you do being powered by internal combustion engines, no thought whatsoever as to what you're going to do with the batteries after 10 years. What are you going to do? No thought. I tell you, watching Tony Abbott on the 7:30 report, I thought to myself, I listened carefully. He looked good, looked very well. I listened to him and I thought, he should be Prime Minister. Yes, he's made mistakes, but who hasn't? He wouldn't be the first politician to come back from the wilderness. I thought he was balanced, intelligent, thoughtful, reasoned. The Liberals need Tony Abbott and people like him. Linda Burney. Oh, by the way, Pete, I got some feedback saying that you'd spelt Burney. Well, I don't know. I spell it B-I-R-N-E-Y. How did you spell it?
B-U-R.
B-U-R-N-E-Y. Well, I don't know which of us is right, but I'm told...
I'm wrong, apparently.
I don't know.
But Burney, I went by Burney in Tasmania.
Oh, yeah, okay. Why not? Anyway, Linda Burney has said publicly at the press club luncheon, I will ask the Voice to concentrate on, and she listed health, education, incarceration, and jobs. Domestic violence wasn't mentioned. And she repeated her list, her priorities, several times during the week. But hang on, according to the referendum question to which we are going to be asked to vote yes or no, the government, the minister or ministers, will not be directing the Voice, merely taking or listening to advice. Well, the minister is either confused or trying to mislead us. I suspect this whole thing is a very expensive $400 million con job to create a racially divided society. Just in thinking about Linda Burney, if she has her list of Aboriginal problems that need to be fixed, why doesn't she just, as the minister, fix them? The Voice can talk, the minister can fix, right? But if the minister already knows the important issues, we don't need the Voice. She knows the problems. You know what the problems are. Why don't you just get on with the job? You don't have to tell a group of people what the problems are and then sit down and listen to them telling you what the problems are again. From what you were saying at the press club, you know what the problems are, so you just get on with fixing them. Why not? Why not? Cut to the chase. This government should get the boot at the earliest opportunity. I firmly believe it. To be spending $400 million on this nonsense is ridiculous. To have a separate bureaucracy, another layer of government, to represent only 3% of the population, and to do this on the basis of race, should have the United Nations asking questions. I heard Linda Burney on The Insiders on Sunday, this Sunday past, and frankly she couldn't or wouldn't answer the questions. Now, here was a very simple one. This is pretty, the gist of it is pretty right, perhaps not word perfect. Minister, if you were given different advice on the same subject by the Voice and by your department, who would you listen to? Nothing. Could not answer the question. David Spears asked the question over and over again. He's a good journalist. Would not give a straight answer. A very simple example of the chaos and confusion that this unnecessary, expensive and racist nonsense would cause. To achieve absolutely nothing, by the way. Now, another question that the minister was asked and couldn't answer: if you lose this referendum and the no vote gets up, will you legislate for a voice in Parliament? Again, very simple question. Would not answer it. Now, I am used to listening to slippery politicians prevaricating and pontificating, but I think there is a point when you have to ask, is this person competent to be a minister in the Federal Parliament of Australia? There's not a chance that this minister would join me here in the Court of Public Opinion for a chat when we get our studio and several microphones organised, and the opportunity to take phone calls as well, bits and pieces. I don't think she's going to join me, but if any journalist worth his or her salt had the opportunity to ask one question, just one cut-through question, it could clear up everything. And that would be, Minister, could you explain where the $35 billion a year given to Indigenous Australians actually goes? Because this is more than enough money to fix the health, education and domestic violence problems which you say are your priority. It's got to be answered. Pete, what are you waving in the air?
Before you sign off, Jeremy.
Yes.
This has just come in from Caroline.
Yes.
I can pause.
No. Just give it a bit. It's fine.
A quick read.
No. Let me have what it is. Aboriginal elders shut down bushfire restriction tree planting event. Oh. Farmers terrified about sweeping new cultural heritage laws have had their first dose of reality when an Aboriginal elder made a huge call. Farmers are angry and seething due to the implication of a Western Australian Cultural Heritage Act and how they're being treated, says the Institute of Public Affairs Deputy Director David Wild. A community tree planting event in Western Australia has reportedly been shut down by a local Aboriginal elder, citing the state's controversial new cultural heritage laws. Today's attendees made their way to blah blah. Anyway, look, all I'm saying is, for God's sake, we live in one beautiful country. It's got its problems, but it is a fantastic and arguably the best country in the world. And we've got this bickering, this stupid, nasty, sniping business that goes on between black and white. Boils down to that. You could say it's heritage, you could give it all kinds of different names. But we are one Australia. Just forget the colour, forget everything. We all have equal opportunity. We just have to learn to take advantage of it. And yes, as I was just saying about the question I would like to ask Linda Burney, these people feel they're deprived. Aboriginals don't clearly get the money that is provided for them. They don't need a voice, they need a forensic accountant to force the government, or perhaps enlighten the government, to tell them where this money goes. We have a right to know. It's our money. We intend it for Indigenous Australians, but they clearly don't get it. So where is it? Minister?
Whatever Pauline Hanson wants to know.
Well,
we haven't heard any more about that.
No. Pauline Hanson did initiate something in the Parliament, which was basically that of the something like look, it could be as many as 1,000 different Aboriginal bodies, all given lots and lots of money. Instead of Aboriginal people, the industry gets this money. And I didn't think to even question it, but she decided to look for some accountability. Do these people actually have to account for where they spend the money? Now, I sent her an email and said, whatever you find out, would you please let me know? I haven't heard back from her. But clearly, that is part of the forensic accountant, the forensic accountant's job in telling us where that money goes. Let's have an accounting. We've got to go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for viewing the Court of Public Opinion. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Jeremy Cordeaux. Peter Clayton and I will be back. Believe in yourself, and thank you for viewing. Bye for now.